Thank you very much for joining us. Look, we've been discussing the outcome. We just had the Queensland result called by Anthony Green as well. So the yes case is yet to win a single state. Why do you think that is? What do you put this down to?
Well, I think it is obviously a very difficult thing to win a referendum. I mean, that's what's clear, and we knew that coming into this. But just because something's difficult doesn't mean we don't try it. And we went to the election in 2022 committing to take this to the Australian people. We're following through on that commitment, and we're keeping faith with a process really which had begun under the Howard government and followed through in the Abbott government, which led to the Uluru Statement from the Heart. What was clear from all the First Nations groups which participated in that, which was a long and extensive process, was if not now, when? And with that in mind, we took this to the Australian people, and obviously, the results we're seeing are not what we hoped, and it is disappointing. But I'd also say in the same breath, we very much respect this result. We understand now that Australians are not voting to change the Constitution.
Deputy Prime Minister, it's Dan Borscher in the Referendum Centre in Gadigal Country in Sydney. Thanks for joining us. What do you think was the reason that we're seeing this outcome tonight, and what does it mean for your government going forward?
Well, I think it is hard to get referendums up. I think that's what's clear, and we knew that. I think there is, if you like, a kind of higher standard of proof, if I could use a legal term, when we're talking about referendums. If people aren't sure, people are tending to vote no. And I think as we saw the process go on, we were seeing the ability to explain this to more and more people, but it's difficult where there is uncertainty. In terms of the government, I don't think actually tonight really is about that. I think it is about it in the sense that this was a promise that we took to the last election. We were very committed to this, and we followed through on that. Going forward now, we are really mindful that while the Australian people have not voted for a change in the Constitution, I don't think this is indicative of any lessening sense of a desire for reconciliation, in fact, I actually think that during the process of this campaign, the need to do more to close the gap in social disadvantage, which impacts Indigenous Australians, has grown, if anything. And that's really where we now need to take this. There is bringing the country back together, and there is focusing on what we now do in terms of practically moving forward on closing the gap. I think Australians do feel that the gap is something which is fundamentally unfair, and that's where our focus is now at. And really, that's in terms of the impact on the government, that's the most significant element.
Richard Marles, a quick plug here. I'm going to be talking to you on Insiders in the morning, so I'm going to have plenty more questions for you about where we go to now in terms of closing the gap and the issues you've raised there. So there's a hold off till 9 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Daylight Time. Tune in. But I do need to ask you about the unfolding situation, if I can, in Israel, because as we've just heard, the repatriation flights have been cancelled. You're the Defence Minister. What's going to happen? Will a Defence flight get them out?
Look, there's a limit to what I can publicly say, but obviously it's a very challenging set of circumstances, and there's a lot of moving parts. We are looking at how we can resolve issues around the repatriation flights which we had in train. We're also looking at ways in which we can find other alternatives for Australians who are wanting to leave Israel to be able to afford them that assistance. So this has been very much front and centre really since the moment, for the last week, knowing that there would be a desire for a number of the Australians who are in Israel to seek to leave. So we'll continue to work this issue as we are, and we're working it very hard.